Oh, hi, this is Jason. It is currently 2 a.m., and Jason is still preparing for his chemistry exam tomorrow. His eyelids are becoming heavy, so he reaches out for his unfinished cup of coffee and takes a sip. Almost instantly, he feels a burst of energy. In this video on Daily Minute Science, we'll explore how coffee affects your brain and body, why it makes you feel more awake, and the science behind its energizing effects. Before we dive into this video, please consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel. This is completely free, and it'll mean the world to me. You can always change your mind in the future. Coffee contains caffeine, which is the most widely used psychoactive substance in the world. In 2024, nearly 75% of Americans consumed coffee every day. Coffee's caffeine boosts alertness and energy by stimulating the central nervous system, CNS, even when we are sleep deprived. However, it can also increase our heart rate and blood pressure and make us feel anxious. Caffeine has been used for over 1,000 years. Coffee was discovered by Ethiopian shepherds in the 9th century, who noticed their goats became more energetic and did not want to sleep at night after consuming coffee berries. Coffee quickly spread from its origins, becoming a beloved drink around the globe. However, how does coffee work? Surely, something as great as coffee has negative effects on us, right? To understand how caffeine energizes us, we must first understand why we feel tired. Throughout the day, our body needs energy to function. Our body obtains energy from breaking down a molecule called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP for short. In this process, adenosine is released. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter in the brain that makes us feel tired and promotes sleep. As the day goes on, adenosine levels in our brains increase, making us feel drowsy. Adenosine basically binds with neuroreceptors in our brain, activating biochemical reactions that make us feel sleepy. Caffeine has a similar molecular structure as adenosine and binds with adenosine receptors in our brain without actually activating them, preventing adenosine from binding and signaling the brain to relax. This blockage helps reduce feelings of fatigue and keeps us awake and alert, even when we are sleep deprived. By blocking adenosine receptors, those excitatory neurotransmitters are able to move around the brain, which signals our adrenal glands to produce adrenaline. Adrenaline, which is known as the fight or flight hormone, boosts energy by increasing our blood pressure and heart rate, as well as stimulating our liver to release glucose. Another effect of caffeine you might have noticed is the improvement in mood after drinking coffee. We experience a surge in dopamine levels when we drink coffee. Dopamine is another neurotransmitter in our body that gives us pleasure and satisfaction, essentially making us feel good. Caffeine increases the amount of dopamine in our brain by blocking the reabsorption into our body. It doesn't really increase the amount of dopamine released into our brain, but instead, it reduces the rate at which dopamine is reabsorbed, hence increasing the levels of dopamine, making us feel good. This is also why coffee is suspected to be addictive. Some other long-term health benefits of caffeine include a reduced risk of heart disease, strokes, diabetes, and kidney diseases. Additionally, caffeine may help prevent heart failure, reduce the risk of Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's, protect the liver, and even lower the risk of certain kinds of cancer. It is thought that caffeine-stimulating effects become less noticeable over time as the body becomes tolerant to it. Your brain can adapt to regular caffeine consumption. It is human nature to feel tired and need to rest, so our body produces more adenosine receptors in an attempt to tell our body to get sleep. Over time, you will realize that you need to consume more coffee in order to feel as alert. There are more and more adenosine receptors to block, and the same amount of caffeine is simply insufficient to block all those neuroreceptors. With more adenosine receptors in our brain, you feel even more tired if you forget to drink your daily cup of coffee, as compared to if you don't drink coffee completely. It's also why if you suddenly quit drinking coffee altogether, you may experience an unpleasant withdrawal. With more adenosine receptors and no inhibitors, we will experience symptoms like headaches, tiredness, depressed moods, and difficulty concentrating. This is because our body has become reliant on caffeine to function at its usual level of alertness. Oh, coffee seems so good, right? With all its benefits, it's easy to see why it's such a beloved beverage and is the most popular drug in the world. However, it's important to note that there are some negative impacts associated with coffee consumption. There is a reason why scientists and governments have warned us to monitor our daily caffeine intake carefully. High daily consumption of caffeine can result in insomnia, as it interferes with our body's natural sleep patterns. making it difficult to fall asleep, especially if we drink coffee later in the day. Additionally, caffeine can increase anxiety, causing heightened nervousness, and even panic attacks in some individuals due to its stimulating effects on our nervous system. Last but not least, excessive caffeine can increase heart rate and blood pressure, posing risks for individuals with cardiovascular issues, as caffeine puts strain on our heart and blood vessels. In dire situations, it can lead to serious health complications, such as heart attacks or even death, highlighting the importance of consuming coffee in moderation. There's a reason our body needs sleep. It is essential for our overall health, and we should not rely excessively on caffeine to artificially stay alert. Oh right, Jason. Maybe start revising earlier next time, instead of burning the midnight oil. That's all for this video.